Ever had something really weird happen to you? Something so scary you can't explain it? Tonight, we've got 5 true stories that might keep you up at night. And number 1 is the scariest. Sarah was working late one night. It was almost 3 in the morning when her phone rang. The caller ID showed her home number. But Sarah lived alone, and her home phone hadn't worked in months. She answered, feeling confused. At first, she heard nothing. Then came heavy breathing. Sarah's heart started racing. "Hello," she said. Then she heard it, her own voice, whispering her name over and over. Sarah hung up, her hands shaking. When she got home, everything was normal. Her old home phone was still unplugged. To this day, Sarah wonders who or what called her that night. Number 4. Mark had just come home from a work trip. He was tired and started looking at vet photos on his phone. Suddenly, he saw a picture he didn't remember taking. It showed his bedroom at home, but the photo was from 3 days ago when he was away. Mark looked closer. There was someone in his bed. As the picture got clearer, Mark felt scared. It was him in the bed, fast asleep, even though he had been far away at the time. His phone suddenly turned off. In the quiet, Mark heard soft breathing coming from his bedroom. His heart pounding, he walked towards the sound. But as he reached for the door, he heard a noise behind him. He turned around and saw himself. The other Mark smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "Welcome home," it said, sounding just like him. "I've been waiting for you." Number 3, the weird elevator. Elena lived in an old apartment building. One night, she came home late and got in the elevator. As the doors closed, she smelled something funny, like old wet books. The elevator started moving, but it felt wrong. Instead of going up, Elena felt like she was going down. She looked at the floor numbers, 1, B, B2. The building didn't have any floors below the basement. Elena pushed all the buttons, but nothing worked. The elevator kept going down. B3, B4, B5. She started yelling for help, but no one came. After what felt like forever, the elevator stopped. The doors opened, but Elena couldn't see anything outside. It was just complete darkness. She heard strange whispers coming from the dark. Then she heard footsteps getting closer. Elena pushed the closed door button over and over. Just as something tried to reach in, the doors finally shut. The elevator zoomed back up, faster than ever. Elena never used that elevator again. Sometimes, on quiet nights, she thinks she can still hear those whispers. Number 2, the scary babysitting job. Lily was babysitting for a new family in town. When she got to the house, the parents told her the kids were already asleep. After they left, Lily went upstairs to check on the children. She saw a small shape under the covers in one of the bedrooms. Later, while watching TV, Lily got a text from her friend who usually babysat for this family. "How are the kids?" the friend asked. Lily replied, "They're fine, sleeping since I got here." Her friend texted back right away, "Kids, Lily, that family doesn't have any children. Get out of there now." Lily felt her blood turn cold. She looked up and saw a small figure in the doorway. It didn't look quite right. "Mommy," it said in a weird voice, "will you come play with us?" Lily heard more footsteps coming from upstairs. Lots of them. She ran out of the house as fast as she could. Number 1, the scary mirror. David always looked in his big old mirror before bed. It was just something he did every night. But one night, something strange happened. As David turned away from the mirror, he thought he saw something move. He looked back quickly, but everything seemed normal. He looked closer at his reflection, and that's when he noticed it. The reflection was moving just a tiny bit slower than he was. David blinked hard, thinking he was seeing things. When he opened his eyes, everything looked normal again. He laughed a little, feeling silly. But as he turned to go to bed, he heard something. A whisper, very quiet. "Let me out." David turned back to the mirror slowly. His reflection was staring at him with a weird look on its face. "Who are you?" David asked, scared. The reflection smiled, but David wasn't smiling. It spoke again, sounding like a creepy version of David's voice. "I'm you," it said. "The real you. They trapped me in here a long time ago. Now it's your turn." The reflection's hand came out of the mirror like it was water. It grabbed David's arm and started pulling him in. David tried to get away, but he couldn't. As he was pulled into the mirror, David saw his bedroom fading away. Instead, he saw a big, dark place full of mirrors. In each mirror, he saw his own face, screaming without sound. The last thing David heard before he went through the mirror was his own voice, now coming from the body he left behind. Sweet dreams, David. I'll take good care of your life. These stories might sound made up, but remember, sometimes real life can be scarier than any story. So tonight, when you're in bed, listen carefully to the sounds in your house. Be careful about answering strange phone calls. And whatever you do, don't look too long in the mirror. You never know what might be looking back at you. New scary stories every Monday. Don't forget to like and subscribe.